Good morning, dear students. Continuing with our class on advanced diagnostic aids, today we'll be discussing about advances in the field of radiographic assessment. So today's class contents are conventional radiographs, the pros and cons, digital radiography, direct and indirect, both methods will be discussed, subtraction radiography, cardia, computer tomography, MRI and CBCT. So conventional radiography or the traditional method used to assess the destruction of alveolar bone associated with periodontal disease has been carried out historically, and they provide information regarding the interproximal bone levels rather than the buccal or the lingual plates. They provide information on the periodontium which cannot be obtained by any other non-invasive method, and the information they provide is regarding the root length, the root proximity, interproximal bone loss, and they can also estimate the level of remaining alveolar bone. However, a lot of variability is present with the conventional radiographs, and they affect the output of conventional radiography. Now, these variations could be in terms of projection geometry. Now, this can be reduced by the use of well-standardized long cone parallel technique. Now, standardized or standardization meaning something which has been created every time in the same manner. Now, other variations exist like variations in the contrast and density of the film. Now, this may occur due to the difference in film processing, voltage and exposure time, and masking of osseous changes by other anatomic structures. And there has to be a substantial amount of bone loss, that is, a bone loss at least more than 30%, so that it can be recognized in the radiographs. Therefore, this conventional radiographs, they lack the sensitivity. So attempts have been made in order to standardize the radiographic assessment. Radiographs should be obtained in a constant and reproducible plane. Now this can be achieved through the use of film holders, as you can see in the picture, and they can be placed in a constant position on a group of teeth, and an extension arm can be attached to both the film holder and the X-ray tube. Now this can standardize the conventional IOPs, at least in terms of positioning. Now, in order to overcome the variability in conventional radiography, a lot of advances in radiograph have been carried out. Now, the first under that is the digital radiography, and this has speedily overtaken the conventional radiography since it was introduced in the mid 1980s. Now, digital radiography, they use a sensor of a solid state, and the information which is obtained or the images which are obtained, they are stored using a computer. The digital radiography enables the use of computerized images. They can be stored and they can be corrected for underexposure or overexposure. So the disadvantages with conventional radiography can be overcome with the help of digital radiography. By the digital storage and processing, the diagnostic information can be enhanced. And a major advantage with the digital radiography is the reduction of radiation dosage compared to conventional radiography, and this comes down to about 1/3 to half of the radiation dosage when compared to conventional radiography. Now, with a digital radiography, two systems are available. One is the direct method and the other is the indirect method. Now, the direct method uses a charged coupled device sensor which is linked with the fiber optic wire to the computer system. Now, this method obtains a real-time imaging which offers both the clinician and patient an improved visualization of the periodontium. And this image can be manipulated and it can be even compared with the previous stored image. The main disadvantage is the sensor, as you can see in the a picture on your slide. Now it has limited area of vision, or it can only uh, uh, depict one or two teeth images, and the sensor which is used in the direct method is very rigid, and it is attached to the wire. So many a times it becomes difficult since it is not as flexible as the film which is used with the conventional radiography, and especially in posterior areas it becomes very difficult to carry out the imaging. Next is the indirect method. This uses a phospholuminescence plate, which is a flexible film, and this is placed intraorally and it is exposed to conventional X-ray tubes. Now, the advantage with this method is that the X-ray film is flexible and it is smaller as compared to the convention, but it is same soft and flexible as the one which is used with conventional radiography. Now in this system, a laser scanner reads the exposed plates and it reveals the digital image data, and this also can be enhanced, stored, and it can be compared with the previous images. Now this images which are obtained, they can be even used as a motivational and an educational tool for the patient. And the condition of the patient's say the alveolar bone in case of when you're assessing the periodontium. Now this can be explained to the patient and the patient can be educated, and the treatment plan also can be explained to the patient. Now digital radiography is in a state of rapid development, and the sensors as well as the computer software and the hardware are constantly modified and improved. So one such improvement is in case of subtraction radiography. Now this technique is well established and it is introduced in the periodontal diagnosis, and it was introduced in 1983 by Grondal and Grondal for periodontal diagnosis, and Jeffcoat in 1992 used this for the determination of periodontal disease progression. Now this technique relies on the conversion of serial radiographs into digital images. So the radiographs which are taken one after the other in a serial manner, now they are then superimposed, or they are placed one on top of the other, and the resultant composite can be viewed on a video screen for the diagnosis and interpretation. Now the inference of this radiography can be in terms of changes in the density or the volume, can be detected as the lighter areas which depict the bone gain and darker areas which depict the bone loss, as you can see in the image on your slides. And another thing which you would have noticed in the figure C is that the unwanted structures like the tooth structure, etc., is eliminated from the final image, or it is subtracted from the final image. So that is what subtraction radiography is all about. So the unwanted structures where there are no changes, those structures are eliminated from the final image. Next is the computer assisted subtraction radiography. Now this method was developed to reduce the amount of unwanted structures by subtraction identical image features in serial radiographs which have been digitized. And this was done by usage of a high quality TV camera interfaced with an analog to a digital converter and a computer. Now when this technique was applied to standardized radiographs which were taken before and after, say, a periodontal procedure, the observers were able to detect those lesions more accurately when compared to conventional radiographs from which the computer assisted subtraction images were produced. Means even from the original conventional radiographs, we were able to detect lesions which otherwise were not possible with conventional radiography. Now this technique requires a parallelization technique to obtain a standardized geometry and accurate superimposed radiographs. Radiographs which are taken with identical exposure geometry can be scanned using a microphotometer which determines a grayscale value for each picture point. Now, grayscale is nothing but a range of the different shades from black to white. Grayscale images contain only the shades of gray and no other color. Now, after the superimposition of the different images or the radiographs, this technique can show the difference in relative densities. Now, advantage with this technique is high degree of correlation between changes of the alveolar bone determined by subtraction radiography and attachment level changes in the periodontal patients following periodontal therapy. And with this, there's an increased detectability of small osseous lesions compared with conventional radiographs from which the subtraction images are produced. So as I already told you earlier, at least up to 30% or more bone loss is required in order to be seen or visualized on the conventional radiographs, but this can be overcome with the help of this technique. This technique allows a near perfect accuracy at a lesion depth which corresponds to 0.49 mm of compact bone, whereas the lesion needed to be 3 times larger to be detectable with conventional radiography. However, disadvantages are there needs to be a close to identical projection alignment. So when every time you need to take an image, it should be very, very accurate. That is the projection geometry and the alignment should be very accurate when compared to taking at the first time. And this makes the method a little impractical in a clinical setting. So next is the diagnostic subtraction radiography. Now this is a new image subtraction method which has been introduced, and this combines the use of a positioning device as you have seen in this class earlier. So positioning device is used during film exposure with specialized software designed for digital image subtraction, and this uses a personal computer or conventional computers which are used in dental offices. This image analysis software applies an algorithm which connects to the effect of angular alignment discrepancies and provides some degree of flexibility in the imaging procedure. It provides a high degree of accuracy when compared to conventional and subtraction radiography. Now this method has a great diagnostic potential because of the usage of the computers with the capability for digitizing and image processing. Now this image shows the effect of surgical therapy on angular defects. So the pre-op and the post-op images can be compared, and the dark areas show the formation of new bone. Next is the CADIA or the computer assisted densitometric image analysis. Now this is a video based system in which a video camera measures the light which is transmitted through a radiograph, and the signals from the camera are converted into grayscale images. The camera is interfaced with an image processor and a computer, and this allows the storage and the mathematical manipulation of the images. Now this system offers an objective method to quantitatively follow the alveolar bone density changes over time and appears to be the most sensitive when compared to the previous advances in radiographic interpretation. Now using the replicate measurements of the clinical attachment loss and CADIA, it has been shown that the prevalence of progressing lesions in periodontitis was much higher than previously thought. So it has opened up new arena for the diagnosis of periodontal conditions. Next is the computed tomography. This is a radiographic technique which can display an image on a grayscale using a television monitor. Now the CT scanner has 4 components: a computerized patient bed, a gantry containing an X-ray tube and a large array of X-ray sensitive detectors. microprocessor for data analysis, a television monitor, and a filing device for the hard copies. Now, the latest scanners use a ring of detectors that surround the patient and remain stationary as the X-ray tubes rotate. Uh, Generally, each CT image or slice is about 1 to 1.5 millimeters in thickness. The thinner the slice, the more noise or distortion is produced. The CT scanner generally makes the axial slices of a given area, which is approximately 1 mm apart. Now, they are known as axial slices because they are made perpendicular to the long axis of the body, and these slices are made as close as possible parallel to the edentulous site or occlusal plane. The microprocessor can then create a series of panoramic views, coronal views, and cross-sectional views. The uses include irregular, thin, or spiny osseous contours. They can be visualized from the CT scans. Soft tissue contour and dimension can be determined. Continuity and density of the cortical plates, the vertical height of the residual alveolar ridges, the density of the medullary spaces and the basilar bone, etc., can all be viewed and determined. It is used to determine how much space is available above the mandibular canal to receive a dental implant, and is used to determine whether there is a space occupying lesion in the maxillofacial area. Now, the disadvantage of this is it's highly expensive and there's a high radiation burden on the patient. So next is the magnetic resonance imaging. Now, this has found wide application in the recent times. The MRI images are obtained by measuring the changes in the low frequency audio signals in the magnetic field. The resulting data is used to create images of the structures which we intend to examine, and it provides a better soft tissue image when compared to the computed tomography. And the main advantage with this method is that the patient is not exposed to radiation. It is used mainly in the study of the TMJ and the soft tissue lesions of the gingiva and other oral structures, and it finds application in implant placements. Next is the cone beam computed tomography or CBCT. This is a new technique of acquiring the 3D image of the oral cavity. It was introduced in the late 1990s, and the main advantage with this is the ability to view and analyze three-dimensional images of the patient's oral and maxillofacial structures. Now, this overcomes the problems with magnification and the superimposition of structures, which was seen otherwise with the conventional radiographs, like the panoramic imaging or IOPS, etc. Now, this consists of an X-ray computed tomography where the X-rays are divergent, forming a cone, and hence the name. The CBCT unit typically makes a single rotation of 180 or 360 degrees around the patient's head to acquire a two-dimensional image. Now, these images are known as a basis image, and this system has a shorter scan time, a lower cost, and a lower radiation dosage. There are two phases in the CBCT imaging: the acquisition phase and the reconstruction phase. During the acquisition phase, the patient is positioned into the machine with the head stabilized to avoid movement during the data filming. The beam and the receptor rotate simultaneously around the patient's head during the acquisition phase. Now, the basis images which are obtained are collected in the detector within a few seconds. Now, in the reconstruction phase, the set of 150 or 600 basis images, they are sent to the software, which then create a 3D volume reconstruction of the entire data, which is collected from the two phases. Now, this is an image of a CBCT showing a three-dimensional depiction of the periodontal bone loss around the maxillary second premolar tooth. The arrow indicates the extent of the bone loss on the facial, palatal, mesial, and the distal aspects of the concerned tooth. Now, the indications of CBCT, there's a wide range of indications for this. It can be used for determination of numerous lesions as well as the structures of the oral cavity, used for the evaluation of bony and soft tissue lesions, used for periodontal assessment, soft tissue CBCT, used for the measurement of gingival tissue and dimensions of the dentogingival unit. Alveolar density measurements can be determined with CBCT. Again, evaluation of the TMJ, and it is widely used for the implant placement and evaluation. Advantage with CBCT, it provides a complete 3D reconstruction. Low radiation dosage, this is about 5 times less than the conventional CT, and the radiation is limited only to the area of interest. So this is all for now. In the next classes, we'll discuss about the microbiological analysis and advances in characterizing host response. Thank you.